Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can perform permutations in your code, and this is going to be making use of recursion. So if you haven't already heard of recursion or familiar with it, I highly recommend watching a video that discusses recursion. And so given an example problem statement in which we're having an input of a list of characters like A, B, C, we want the output of this function to be the permutations on this list in which order matters. And so in our case, ABC could be ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, and CBA. And so this is the expected output given this input. And so how are we going to begin to define this? And so the very first thing we're going to start off with is just by defining a function. I will call it perm. Perm will take in a list, and I'm just going to say LST. And just like we do in all these other recursive functions, the very first thing we're going to be doing is defining our base case. So in the first base case, if the length of the list is equal to 0, if there's nothing in it, then I want to return nothing. I want to return an empty list. And then the other base case here is else if length of the list is equal to 1, then I want to return an array of just the one element inside of that list. And then we have our recursive case here, the recursive case in which we are going to actually be calling our own function to continue iterating through the length of characters in our string that we're permutating. And so the first thing we're going to be doing in our recursive case is initializing an empty list, and I'll call this empty list L. And then what's going to happen next here is I will say that we're going to iterate through the input list. So for I in range of the length of the list that we've been given. So basically we're going to go element by element. We're looking at the first character of that. So like that A and then B and then C. I'm sorry, this might sound stupid, but basically we're going to be looking at that first position for each one of these for loop iterations. What we're going to do is grab the first element of each permutation, and then the next thing here is we're going to say x will get the ith element of that list, so list and then I, and then the next thing we'll do is we're going to grab the remaining elements in the list, the sublist, and the way we're going to be doing that is we're going to say x sub s or xs gets list, and then I want to concatenate the sublist, and then I'm going to concatenate that with the remaining characters of that list, which would be I plus 1 colon, and then finally we're going to iterate through this sublist, so for p in perm and then xs, our sublist, we're going to append the x list with the p element, and then finally we're going to return L. And so that is what this thing looks like. And now we're going to test it out. So we've got print, and I've got a little list right here that we can test out. Print perm and ABC. So now if we just run this code, hopefully it compiles, and we're able to see all of our permutations on this list. And so you can see how this thing grows pretty quick as we increase the number of items in our list. So if we did A, B, C, D, E, this is going to take it a lot longer, but we'll just run it. It's going to come back to us with all these different permutations, and it's working as expected. The other thing that is very helpful to do as you're learning this, in my opinion, is to set breakpoints in this code. So if you just put a breakpoint at this first iteration of this first for loop, and we run this by running this in debug mode using PyCharm, we're going to see how it's grabbing basically that first element of that list and then the remaining elements of the list to then perform permutations on the remaining elements of that list. And so we basically set that first character, permutate all the other characters, grab the next character to be the first character, and then do all those permutations. And so this is how it works. Thank you all for watching. I hope this helps. I know this is really challenging stuff to wrap your head around, but thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time.